With back to school around the corner, the push to vaccinate students ramps up.
Get vaccinated, it'll be a lot easier. You'll be able to see your friends.
More on the effort to get shots in arms, including from a mobile vaccination bus outside the Toronto Blue Jays game.
A lot of food that I have to drive up north to get, that now I can get really close to home.
A popular Asian grocery store owned by Loblaws opens in Toronto's Chinatown, but some are concerned it could take business away from the neighborhood's other shops.
Jordan, he's someone who's always set his mind up for anything.
We'll tell you about an inspiring young man leading a fundraiser to get speech therapy for kids with Down syndrome.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Good evening, I'm Marivel Tarouk. Back to school preparations are underway for families in the province, with many students returning to in-person learning. As the number of fully vaccinated Canadians nears 75%, the push is on to raise that number before September. CBC's Gagne has the details.
A mobile vaccination bus parked outside a Toronto Blue Jays game. It's a unique way the city is trying to reach the unvaccinated.
We're here to educate, we're here to provide the vaccine.
The urgency is growing. School starts in 2 weeks in most provinces, and COVID cases across Canada are rising as the highly contagious Delta variant continues to spread.
It's probably going to circulate with the unvaccinated people in schools, especially the younger grades, because you can't vaccinate them.
While many provinces and cities have met vaccination targets, experts say we need to aim higher.
We need to vaccinate all the adults around the child, so including teachers, but parents, grandparents. So if that child does get COVID, you want to minimize the spread into the community. Most kids still get mild illness. It's like a cold or be asymptomatic. So I don't want everyone to panic thinking all the kids are going to get sick and end up in the hospital. But, there are kids that will.
In Toronto and other cities, youth-focused clinics have popped up in neighborhoods where vaccination rates among eligible children are low.
You are way better than my other one.
For those still hesitant, in Saskatoon, health officials have come up with a tail-wagging vaccine incentive.
The dog is not seen or being perceived to be judging. So if someone hasn't had their vaccine yet, maybe they feel that they're going to be judged. So I think that's one good example of okay, in addition to things like reducing stress, feeling comfort, and all those good things.
A number of post-secondary institutions across Canada have implemented mandatory masking and vaccination policies. Many high school and elementary school students will also face stricter health and safety requirements this September. Parents in Nova Scotia and PEI await those provinces' back-to-school plans set to be released on Monday. Back at the baseball game,
Get vaccinated, it'll be a lot easier. You'll be able to see your friends and family.
advice he hopes vaccine-eligible kids will follow before returning to classes. Gagne, CBC News, Toronto.
Ontario reported its 689 cases of COVID-19 today. That is the highest single-day count since early June. The overall number of people hospitalized with COVID-19 climbed to 212, the most at any point during Step 3 of reopening. The number of patients being treated for COVID-related illnesses in intensive care fell slightly to 130 after nearly a week of increasing numbers. One additional death was reported today. A popular Asian grocery chain owned by Loblaws opened in Toronto's Chinatown. Thousands of people lined up to shop at T&T Supermarket after its previous location in the Portlands closed as the city redevelops the area. The retailer's new spot has some wondering, though, if it will take away business from smaller Chinatown stores. Dale Manukduk has the story.
T&T Supermarket is open for business. Shoppers lined up at the new College and Bathurst location and were thrilled to get products they usually have to travel outside downtown to get.
This here you cannot get anywhere. Spicy tofu,
Chinese ice cream, and the Taiwan sausage.
A lot of food that I have to drive up north to get, that now I can get really close to home.
Chinatown BIA Chair Tony Louie acknowledges the convenience of the new store and hopes it will bring a new reason for people to visit the area.
They offer products that we don't have in Chinatown, so I don't think it's going to, if anything, it's going to make everybody improve their selection of goods and services.
In a statement to CBC, TNT CEO Tina Lee says the supermarket will increase foot traffic, writing, "We respect the deep history and culture of the area and are looking to complement what Chinatown has to offer, not compete."
I think it's good. I think the more Asian culture gets spread, the more business they'll get down there as well.
We don't have any more Chinatown here. Chinatown in Toronto disappear.
Others strongly disagree.
Come down and see our exhibition. We've got 170 posters here of people that saying, "I love Chinatown, this neighborhood means something to me."
Wong and 10 others organized the Long Time No See project today. It features testimonials from a wide selection of residents expressing their love for the authenticity of Chinatown. Posters are in 7 different locations, including Spadina and Grange, and the Kung Fu Club along Dundas, where Wong teaches. He says large chains cannot accommodate the diversity of an area like Chinatown and that local grocers provide food security. He says he recently bought 20 kiwis for $1.
You need these kind of small grocery operators that are out there making these deals. And it's not for everybody. It's not the national chain. It hasn't been vetted by head office. The guy just scored a deal somewhere.
The price is affordable. It's not expensive. That's why I like it. It's convenient for me too. I live just around here.
The same reason people go to TNT is why others choose to shop local.
Something here is not over there.
Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, it is the first true festival season since the pandemic hit, and Ontario's movers and shakers have been preparing unique, physically distant events, from music to theatre to urban art. Jessica Ng gives us a taste of what's on offer.
Just an ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind.
These performers from Gagne Theatre Productions haven't shared the stage since the company started. They say it feels amazing to be back.
Being able to hear people sing and play without Zoom delay is a weird thought, but it's just wonderful.
It's one of several summer offerings around Ontario. Donna Garner is the artistic director.
I had just come home from touring in the U.S. on a couple of Broadway tours, and I was trying to figure out what my mark was going to be on the Canadian theatre scene. I rehearsed my actor-musicians in July, and we just made sure that we were ready to go as soon as they pushed the button and said we could do this.
They're presenting socially distant shows today and tomorrow in Monarch Park. Getting into the show is free. You just need to provide your information for contact tracing.
At this show, the audience can even join in with lyric sheets and chord charts. Garner hopes to foster a sense of audience interaction and connection, something we've all missed during the pandemic.
In a lot near the Junction, Mixto Festival is heating things up with sounds and bites from all over the world.
We're in a world where we are not only presenting an in-person festival and all the challenges and beautiful things associated with that, but we're also producing things to pre-recorded, to be later released through our social media network.
In addition to being live streamed, they've set up a system to help patrons identify and show their closeness comfort level to others.
It's really no different from a cafe TO. The difference is it is open air, so you can move around.
In Sudbury, Up Here Urban Art and Music Fest is taking over Durham Street this weekend. As part of the events, renowned muralist Kevin Lido created this stunning mural on the side of Sudbury Secondary School, where Alex Trebek was an alumnus.
And of course the girls to sing me a song.
If you feel more comfortable staying in, Markham Jazz Fest has you covered with a packed lineup through tomorrow afternoon, including Donovan Locke and Jessica Lalonde. Wherever you choose to take in this shortened festival season, the best seats in the house can be found all over the province. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
This weekend, Toronto's Pearson Airport is warning international travelers to expect a different experience than pre-pandemic times. The reason? New government travel requirements and additional screening, testing, and health checks. In a statement, the Greater Toronto Airports Authority advises departing international travelers to arrive at least 3 hours in advance. The airport also says all passengers must complete a COVID-19 test on arrival into Canada, regardless of their vaccination status. Those who are unvaccinated or partially vaccinated are strongly encouraged to pre-book their government-approved accommodation prior to entering Canada. Well, it is day 7 of the federal election campaign, and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh made a visit to Toronto today. His tour began with an announcement on plans to fix Canada's housing crisis, including a pledge to build 500,000 affordable homes within 10 years. This was followed by a stop at a pop-up vaccine clinic with a fellow NDP candidate. With the leaders' debates in just a few weeks, the decision on which leaders would participate was announced today. It did not include People's Party leader Maxime Bernier. CBC's David Thurton is following the campaigns from Ottawa.
Unlike the last federal election, Maxime Bernier will not share the stage with any of the other federal leaders. The independent commission organizing the debate determined his party didn't meet any of their criteria, such as polling nationally at 4%.
I do not blame the commission, whose criteria were clear and objective. Rather, I blame the political establishment cartel.
The NDP has long opposed including Bernier and his controversial views.
He's someone that is opposed science, that puts out very dangerous and divisive rhetoric, and is someone that is putting out messages that are discouraging the public health response to this pandemic.
The NDP was in Toronto today talking about affordable housing, but also dropping in on ridings it once held and hopes to win back from the Liberals. But while New Democrats were on the offensive, the Conservatives were on the defensive, visiting ridings they hold and hope to win again. Aaron O'Toole spoke about doubling a federal disability supplement,
providing a major boost to lower-income Canadians with disabilities.
But also spent most of the day in the Alberta capital, an area the Conservatives know other parties are hoping to pick up seats.
Aaron O'Toole is spending time in Alberta, serious time, as opposed to just a whistle stop. It tells me that he thinks he's in danger of losing some of those seats.
And those seats could go to the Liberals, whose leader, Justin Trudeau, took the day off from campaigning. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, if you spent any time outside today, you will know how important it is to try to stay cool. That's why tonight, the City of Toronto is extending hours at 8 outdoor pools. They will stay open until 11:45, and reservations won't be required past 8 p.m. For a full list of the pools that will be open late, you can visit the City of Toronto's website. So, Sophia, it sounds like relief from this heat may have to come in the form of a pool, because it's not coming anytime soon.
No, perfect timing for those pools, because boy, has the heat and humidity made that triumphant return, and it looks like it's going to be sticking around for the foreseeable future. Feeling like the mid-30s really across the board, across the province. Still coming in at 28 here around the dinner hour, and we're still seeing some of those spotty storms moving very quickly across much of the province. They won't last long. Don't worry if you are around cottage country right now. Just quick downpours is what we are seeing. Heat warning still in place, as you know, because of soupy overnight temperatures that will feel like 22. It will feel like 26 by the time you wake up for tomorrow, and will warm with plenty of sunshine to what feels like 35 for much of your day. We have that spotty chance of storms again for much of Sunday. Quick moving in nature that could pop up along a cold front, but really it's going to be predominantly a dry day. The heat and the humidity and the dry conditions will mark much of the long range forecast. But coming up, we'll have a look at the identical days of feels like that are approaching the 40s, and I'll tell you about how all of this tropical humidity actually has its remnants, or actually has its place in some of the remnants of Tropical Storm Henri that is going on stateside right now. So we could see a little bit of active weather because of it. I'll tell you more about that in the long range.
Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks, Sophia.
You're welcome.
Thousands are attempting to flee Afghanistan through the main airport in Kabul, but American citizens trying to get out have now been warned not to go near the area due to potential security threats. While U.S. forces currently control the airport, they'll be withdrawn in just 10 days. Chris Reyes has more on the evacuation effort.
The desperation to escape Afghanistan continues. This crowd gathered outside Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, some without any papers, hoping they might be allowed to leave. Earlier this week, eyewitness video showed Afghan special forces firing gunshots into the air to control the chaos. At least 12 people have been killed in and around the airport since last week when the Taliban took control of the country. The U.S. has issued a security alert urging their citizens not to go to the airport unless they get direct instructions from one of their government representatives. Almost 6,000 U.S. troops are on the ground in Kabul.
The airport remains secure. U.S. military personnel currently oversee flight operations. Both U.S. military contracted aircraft as well as foreign aircraft continue to operate within Kabul airport.
Vice President Kamala Harris spoke to reporters on the tarmac Friday as she headed to Southeast Asia.
My priority is making sure that we safely evacuate American citizens, Afghans who work with us, Afghans at risk, including women and children. And that is one of our highest, if not the highest priority right now.
Obaidullah Bahir is a lecturer at American University of Afghanistan. He says the international community needs to engage with the Taliban.
25 years ago, the Taliban were pariahs once, they were isolated once, and look where it got the world. Let's not do that again. Let's sit down, let's try to speak sense to them. Those are responsibilities that lie on the shoulders of the first world.
At Dulles Airport in Virginia, a warm reunion for those who were able to board flights out of Kabul. The U.S. Department of Defense said 17,000 people have so far been flown out of the airport, including some 2,500 U.S. citizens. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Canada's Paralympic Committee has chosen judo athlete Priscilla Gagne as the flag bearer for the opening ceremony. That ceremony takes place on August 24th. Gagne is ranked second in the 52-kilogram category. This will be her second time competing at the Paralympics. She placed fifth in Rio in 2016. Gagne was born in Granby, Quebec, but moved to Sarnia when she was 3. She started out in wrestling, but decided to switch to judo in 2010. Earlier today, the judoka spoke to CBC News from Tokyo.
For me, it's very honoring and humbling, and it's very nostalgic. We've all been through a lot over the last 5 years, last year and a half especially. And for me, it represents solidarity and strength and unity and diversity and unity within diversity. So it just represents a fantastic community, a fantastic country of people, with people who have come together in a very special way, in a very big way, and have overcome extraordinary obstacles. And to be a part of that and to represent that is just beyond words.
The opening ceremony of the Tokyo Paralympic Games gets underway on Tuesday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. You can catch it on CBC TV, and it will air again later that day at 7 p.m. local time. That is 20-year-old Jordan Isaac, along with his family and dozens of other cyclists, as they kicked off this year's Cycle Jordan bike ride at the CNE grounds. The event is a fundraiser to pay for speech therapy for children and youth with Down syndrome. Cycle Jordan is organized in partnership with Mandem Cycling Club, a group that started during the pandemic and welcomes riders of all skill levels and backgrounds. Organizers and members of his community say this is also about giving back to someone who inspires them.
Jordan is really special, and a lot of people connect to him because of what's inside.
Leaders come in all shapes and sizes, and we have a diverse background. I think Jordan, he's someone who's always set his mind up for anything, and to see him want to have a ride and just be able to be a leader and empowering, it's very empowering to look at.
Jordan was diagnosed with Down syndrome at a very young age, but he's defied all expectations and presumptions placed upon him, and that's a great example for us to all keep in mind.
And good news on the fundraiser, Cycle Jordan hit their goal of raising $15,000. Good work. Well, the TTC's Line 3 was shut down today for more track work. That is the light rail line in Scarborough. The shutdown affected service between Kennedy and McCowan today. And tomorrow, the Young line between Shepherd and Bloor will be out of service. Shuttle buses will be running in place of the subway. Sophia's back with a look at the long range, and you were saying not much change in terms of the temperature or relief from the heat for a little while, Sophia.
No, that heat and humidity will dominate the long range, and then the long range after that long range as well. We actually have a chance for our Sunday afternoon high to maybe take a shot at beating the record, which was 32.2, which was set back in the 1940s. Feels like 35 for much of your day Sunday. Dress for the weather and think cool vibes if you're heading out for any prolonged period outdoors, not only for tomorrow, but really for the next foreseeable future. Look at this. Next couple days, identical forecasts. The forecast in the low 30s, the feels like in the mid to high 30s. And really, it's not until the weekend when we get a little break in that maximum temperature, but then the next week after that looks to be dominated by the same hot and humid pattern. Meanwhile, stateside, millions of people right now are bracing for the impact of Tropical Storm Henri. Big news for anybody traveling along the U.S. Eastern Seaboard, including New York City as well. Right now, we are looking to get the remnant humidity from Tropical Storm Henri. But if the track turns a little bit more to the left, we could see a little bit more wet weather. Right now, though, Henri will be bringing us multiple days above 30 degrees, not only in Toronto, but really right across the board around the GTA. Forecast above 30 degrees. The feels like approaching or at 40. And what this is actually going to do is take us into more record-breaking territory. Now, normally every year we see about 15.8 days above 30 degrees. This year we are already 20 days above 30 degrees and counting. And due to continue growing that record-breaking territory in the week to come, Maribel, it's going to be hot for the long haul.
We'll think about this in January and February.
Yeah, when we miss it, right?
Exactly. Thanks, Sophia.
You're welcome.
And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. Have a great night, everyone.